Joining us now is Okpe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Oji.
Good morning, Dr. Abati.
How are you?
What happened now? We're not waving.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Good morning, Adeswa. Lady in red again.
Yes.
It seems red is your favorite color, is it?
I actually don't have a favorite color.
I don't believe you. Good morning, Rufai. How are you?
Audrey, you're sparkling this morning.
I'm sparkling in my peach, right?
Yes.
Thank you. Well, good morning to you, viewers. We begin what's trending in Nigeria. The presidency has reacted to a trending video showing the former All Progressive Congress National Chairman, Adams Oshiomole, and the Chief of Staff to the President, Ibrahim Gambari, discussing the arrest of unnamed persons. In the video, Adams Oshiomole was heard muttering the words arrest, deal with, and the whole will change. The Chief of Staff, on the other hand, was heard saying, we will go beyond. The video has since drawn criticism from Nigerians on social media due to the upcoming Edo governorship election, with many suggesting a possible clampdown on the opposition. Senior Special Assistant Media and Publicity to the President, Gambari, in response, described the video as an ingenious patchwork of mischief extracted from an innocent conversation focused on the emerging incidents of violence in the run-up to the election. All right, so, the PDP has responded to this response as well. They're saying that, they don't accept what Gambari has said. They don't accept what the presidency has come back with. This video went viral on social media, and everyone was talking about the fact that, this is not the type of rhetoric that these two should be discussing at this time, especially given, the elections are, well on the way. And, Kola Olagwediyo said that the video has confirmed the nation's worst fear. But in any case, back and forth, at the end of the day, the idea is that the security agents should be allowed to do their duties on the day of the elections. They should not be seen as partisan at all in any ways. And, I think that the whole idea should really be focused on the Edo people going out to vote for the person of their choice.
You're absolutely correct.
Yes.
But beyond the lead security agents, which is the police, securing the electoral process on the day of the elections, they need to do that before, during, and after the elections. But something we must all realize, it is the electoral period in Edo State. So this back and forth are not unusual. However, the international election observers, the national election observers, and even the regional ones have in recent years said, Nigeria is recording that steep decline in political and electoral processes. So this is an opportunity, once again, for this APC-led administration to right their wrongs. The leading political parties in Nigeria have actually been faulted, for not stopping these acts of violence, for not stopping intimidation by their supporters or voters. And this undermines, the choices of the voters themselves. So whether this is a fake video or it is not fake, if it is a matchup, mischief makers, I cannot authenticate the video. Yes. But I know that these are not uncommon things during elections. The administration, the President Muhammad-led administration, must take a definitive position about our electoral processes. Yes. They cannot be marred by violence. They cannot be marred by rhetoric such as this. I think we've had enough. We need to move from this.
Absolutely. I agree with you, Adeswa, 100%.
Well, I think the furore over the video is much ado about nothing.
Okay.
Nobody has been able to offer a proper transcript of whatever the conversation was. As far as I'm concerned, whoever took that video and was trying to string sentences together was just being plain mischievous. So I stand with Gambari in this instance. Now, if Comrade Adams Oshiomole, former chairman of the ruling party of Nigeria, if he went to the villa to see the president and to see the chief of staff, and there was any matter of interest, it wouldn't be, some cameraman is dropping that will give us the details. And I, cannot rely on that to be, stitching words and sentences together to imagine what they were discussing. If he wanted to make specific statements, he would address the press. There is a standing press call at that, presidential villa.
Yes.
And when important visitors come to see the president, it's not uncommon, it's not unusual for, some of the reporters to go up to him and say, sir, what did you discuss with the president? Mm-hmm. So I don't think we need to bother about, the video of of Comrade Adams Oshiomole and Professor Gambari walking along in the corridor. The second part of it is that when Comrade Adams Oshiomole made that visit,
yes,
he himself made it clear that he went to discuss the security situation in Edo State with the president, and to appeal to the president to please ensure that, security is taken seriously with regard to the forthcoming gubernatorial election in Edo State. Now, as a major stakeholder, I don't think that if indeed that was what he told the president, I don't think that was beyond him. I don't think that anybody can query, his meeting with the president, because the president is the president of everybody, yes, either from Edo State or wherever you may come. And of course, you know that around that period, there was already a lot of concern about violence in Edo State, with even the Independent National Electoral Commission organizing a meeting with leaders of the campaign, the political campaign in Edo State, to address just this same issue of violence. Mm-hmm. So having laid out these two plans, we go to the next stage, which is that clearly we are all concerned that, given the situation in the Edo State House of Assembly and other developments that we have seen, and the febrile rhetoric that is coming from the politicians, that maintaining peace and security should be a major priority in that election.
Yes. And
the security agencies and the intelligence agencies, they have their work cut out for them. They should make it clear that anybody, no matter how highly placed, be a politician or a party member or an able-bodied man,
yes,
who tries to violate the integrity of the gubernatorial election in Edo State on September 19, they should make it clear that such a person will be made to face the full wrath of the law.
Absolutely.
The people of Edo State must be allowed to exercise their franchise, their right of franchise, in an unfettered manner, yes, and for them to be able to make a choice and speak with their vote.
Very good point, Dr. Abati. Rufai.
I mean, you can't really piece anything out of the video. When you look at it, you hear arrest, you hear this. I mean, those are not coherent.
That's really what people are talking about.
You hear arrest, you hear this. Those are not coherent words. So you can't patch it together and say, okay, this is where they are going, pretty much. So you can't speak much to that because you don't have the facts. And as a news media out there, we deal with the facts, we've got sources and things like that. But most importantly, I think we have to speak to the discipline of the politicians in Edo State leading up to the election. The fact that they should give peace a chance. We had this Yamu that talked about the fact that, you know what, I am suing for peace. The governor too is saying he's suing for peace. But there have been allegations and counter-allegations as regards those that don't want peace in Edo State. And who will suffer the most will be the people. And that's why we should be very careful at times like this. And we should also ensure that the people are carried along in the electioneering process. I say the people because the people determine who will be the next governor in the state. The way the people can be carried along with is by robust debates so that the people will be able to understand what the politicians will do for them. I mean, take for instance, yesterday we had a candidate in that same election that came to tell the people what he will do for the people of Edo State yesterday. And I think we should hear more of that in the campaign. But on the flip side, people have been able to use words like this and piece it together and create big brouhaha. I remember leading up to, I think it was the 2012 or 2011 elections in England, I forget the election year, the incumbent prime minister there, former chancellor of the Exchequer, Boris Johnson, forgot to pull out the mic after a woman asked him a question, and he used the word bigots. And the mic picked it up unintentionally, and that word was used against him, that he called an electorate a bigot in England, and they hailed Gordon Brown for that. So that's just another flip side to it. But in this, I mean, I'm just hearing arrest, so I can't pack things together.
Very well. Let's head over to Canada now, where reports are reaching us that the Nigerian High Commission in the country has suspended consular activities indefinitely due to lack of passport booklets and unruly behavior of applicants. The Commission said although it had devised a system to attend to emergency cases in line with public health guidelines on the COVID-19 pandemic, many applicants were turning up at the consulate without appointments and insisting on being attended to. On one occasion, a female staff was held hostage for several minutes and subjected to physical abuse. The Commission stated it will resume operations by 2021. I mean, I got a bunch of emails regarding the story from Canadians as well, and they're really upset, and rightfully so. I mean, if one person behaves unruly in a commission or in a consulate, that person should be made to face whatever fines that is imposed by the commission. Why lock up the whole consulate and have people suffer and not, have an explanation, a clear explanation? And the fact that there are no booklets, I mean, how does that happen in a consulate overseas?
Well, it happens because the consulates would not print the booklets overseas. So it's an extended problem from Nigeria here. And we hear about these frustrations that Nigerians have to go through at these different missions. It's terrible. But at the same time, are we averse to conducting ourselves in a ruling manner as Nigerians? Yes, I think that there's a lot of blame to go around. But you're very correct, Oji. We should not use, the sins of one person to punish everybody.
It's just a few people.
There are those
we can't generalize.
Who desperately need those documents, who will need access to the missions at a time like this. But the reason, I didn't want to say the excuse, but the reason given by the mission in Canada is that the COVID-19 pandemic has changed the ways, in which they transact. And, so there's a time limit, there's a limitation of numbers of people that can come there. But people show up unexpected. People show up uninvited.
Send them back.
Well, again, that's the problem.
Well, this is not the first time that Nigerians in Canada will complain about having issues with the Nigerian High Commission.
Yeah.
And it's not just in Canada that we get these complaints from, also from many of our missions around the world. But to deal with the specific issue of Canada, in the past, there was a video that was being circulated about Nigerian students studying in other parts of Canada who had traveled all the way to go and, get consular services from the High Commission and who were not attended to. And, they went on social media to protest. So this is another pattern of what has happened. But this time around, the High Commission has gone through the trouble of offering an explanation. One, they do not have enough passport booklets. And the excuse is that, look, because of the COVID-19 shutdown, the restriction on movement, the shutdown of the airports in Nigeria, there's no way they can access or get passport booklets from Nigeria. That is from immigration in Nigeria. Well, whether there should have been a way around some consignment could have been DHL or something to them, that you can interrogate. The second excuse that they've given is that, look, many of these applicants behave in an unruly manner. They attack the building, they assault staff. In one particular case, they even detained a staff of the commission, High Commission, who had gone to address them. Then the third point they raised is that because of COVID-19, usually they expect people to come to the High Commission for whatever consular service based on appointment. I mean, if you were going to a foreign High Commission, you won't just walk in there. You will take an appointment, you will take a date, and then you go at the appointed time. But many of the Nigerians living in Canada, they just come to the High Commission and they expect to be attended to. And if they are not attended to, they become violent. So for the safety of staff, and also because they do not have enough booklets, now they have said they will shut down temporarily until further notice. Now, the explanation, you may then ask, okay, what then happens to those Nigerians who need to change their passports? Yeah. And they offered another explanation that, look, in Canada, people who study or work permits may have expired and who need to use their passport to do one or two things. They've been given an extension till December 31. So we hope that before that December 31, they will have sorted out the issue of booklets and whatever other protocols they need to put in place. Happily enough, the Nigerian international flights have been, have resumed.
Right now,
And,
that's
lack of passport booklets will no longer be an excuse. But generally, what you can legitimately talk about is the management of our high commissions. Many of these high commissions abroad, they are handicapped. They are not just handicapped, they are alienated from the Nigerian community in diaspora. And I think that, the mechanism that is in place, they have associations, Nigerians in diaspora and all of that. Many of our ambassadors and first secretaries, they need to do a lot more to engage with the Nigerian community in the various places where we have either embassies or high commissions.
I mean, this idea is being closed down indefinitely till 2021. It's really hard to swallow, Rufai.
Oji, if you think this is worse, it's even worse at the embassy in England, honestly, in London. It's always a mayhem. I mean, if you remember the story a couple of years ago, I think somebody had to resort to self-help and even destroyed properties around the...
Years ago. It was last year.
Last year. So I will follow the path of Dr. Abati on this. We need to really work on our embassies and our high commissions everywhere in the world. It has to be said. I think there was another very jarring story somebody released about one of our Nigerian high commissions in the Soviet Union where the toilet wasn't working properly and the likes. We just need to invest more in there. But please, on the other part, Nigerians too should be patient. It's very funny. The things we do in our consulate, we can't do that for other countries' consulate.
I'm sure
if you want to see the best behaved Nigeria, go to the American embassy. They are so well behaved. But why is it that it's our consulate that they can do this and go ahead?
There's unruly behavior everywhere.
No, not when a Nigerian is in the American High Commission, in the consulate. They are very well behaved. Once the security officials tell them, stay here, they stay there. They are very well behaved. But, I mean, to a large extent, also, it goes back to a sense of patriotism, I would like to say. I think we don't respect what is ours enough. I think we don't respect what is ours enough. We shouldn't have that kind of showing far away in Canada. We should be ambassadors of our country. If people come out to address you and say, please don't act unruly, let's all understand with them and let's do these things properly and orderly. It's always one fight or the other. But we can't do that in other consulates. And you see citizens of other countries, they hardly do that in other consulates.
Well, for me, I think it's beyond the missions problem. Yes, that's the problem. But there's a Nigerian problem. We're talking about booklets in Canada. There was a time in Nigeria, there was no booklets. I was in Lagos here, and there was no booklet for many months.
Thank you.
And I could not renew my passport. So it's beyond the missions problem. There's a Nigerian problem we need to fix. And this is an extension of the Nigerian problem at the missions.
So with all the technological growth in the world, why do we even still use passport booklets? Can't we have an electronic form of passports? Is that not what we should be thinking about now? I mean, I saw my grandfather's passport booklet in the early 1900s. It was still passport booklets. We should be thinking of electronic form these days.
I'm sure they're listening to you, Rufai. let's. I think that
there was a Nigerian passport in 1900. Is that what you're saying?
I said early 1900s, like 1960, 70, thereabout. That's what I'm saying.
All right. Well, I think that the Commission should pay attention to this issue and help the Canadians in Nigeria out. Let's head over to the United States. It was a historic moment as the third night of the Democratic Convention concluded on Wednesday with Kamala Harris formally accepting the vice presidential nomination. If elected, Kamala will make history as the third woman and the first woman of African and Asian heritage to lead as vice president of the United States. During her acceptance speech, she said her mother raised her and her sisters to be strong Black women and to be proud of their Indian heritage. Let's take a quick listen.
Instilled in my sister Maya and me the values that would chart the course of our lives. She raised us to be proud, strong Black women, and she raised us to know and be proud of our Indian heritage. She taught us to put family first, the family you're born into and the family you choose. Family is my husband, Doug, who I met on a blind date set up by my best friend. Family is our beautiful children, Cole and Ella, who call me Mamala. Family is my sister. Family is my best friend. my nieces, and my godchildren. Family is my uncles, my aunts, and my chitties. Family is Mrs. Shelton, my second mother who lived 2 doors down and helped raise me. Family is my beloved Alpha Kappa Alpha, our Divine Nine, and my HBCU brothers and sisters. Family is the friends I turn to when my mother, the most important person in my life, passed away from cancer.
I particularly love this part of her speech. I mean, her speech was completely powerful. By the way, her husband is our family member, right?
Her younger sister is married to a Nigerian. So family, we're also family. We are claiming family right now.
We're doing Ashwebi soon, right?
Ashwebi in November, come November. It was a very powerful speech. History, taking place. Even if she doesn't win, even if, the party doesn't win this election, history has been made to a certain extent.
Absolutely.
This is someone who's ready to take the fight to President Donald Trump. I love something she said about the pandemic. She said there's no about racism. She said there's no vaccine for racism. But I would like to add to that, there's no vaccine for bad leadership.
Yeah.
And that's what America seems to be facing at the moment.
That too.
I'm loving it all, the build up to the election. It's fantastic, and I'm watching every moment.
Yes.
Well, at the Democratic Convention, Kamala Harris has proven clearly with this speech, acceptance speech, nomination acceptance speech, that she's indeed the right woman for the job.
Yes.
And that Joe Biden has chosen well. He has chosen a formidable partner. With the two of them facing Donald Trump and Vice President Pence, we should look forward to a very heated campaign going forward. Attempts have been made to question Kamala Harris's identity. Attempts have been made to smear her, as I predicted, when the right-wing press began to talk about how she became an attorney and her supposed or alleged relationship with the former mayor, Willie Brown, and all of that. But she seems ready for the job, and she demonstrated strength of character and confidence in her own abilities. Now, the woman who brought her up, the woman on whose shoulder I stand, as she put it, is her mom. That's about family values. And there was a word she used there, a Tamil word, chitis, which simply in Chinan, back where the mom hailed from, simply means aunties. And on social media, that has caused a lot of excitement, particularly in India. So she used that opportunity also to talk about values, the family you come from, the family you choose.
Yes.
And now she and Biden are ready to move America forward.
Yes.
And she accused President Trump of failure of leadership and incompetence. And I think that that's a part of her speech that should be further stressed.
That part of her speech where was quite subtle was how she talked about the fact that her mother gave birth to her in California. A direct attack on Donald Trump, because Donald Trump had said that she may not qualify because she may not be American.
But what the 14th Amendment to the American Constitution says is that it doesn't matter, even if your two parents were not born in the United States. If you were born there, then you're an American citizen.
Yes. All right. Well, head over to Russia now with this incredible story. An 81-year-old woman who was pronounced dead following a surgery on a blocked intestine came back to life after spending the night at a hospital morgue. After the woman, Zinaida Kononova, was pronounced dead, her family began planning her funeral. She was taken to the morgue at around 1:10 a.m. on August 14th, and almost 7 hours later, around 8 a.m., a female morgue worker got the shock of her life when she found the 81-year-old sprawled on the floor. Zinaida had fallen as she attempted to climb off the morgue table. She was then covered up in blankets and rushed to the intensive care unit. The hospital later confessed to the family that they had sent Zinaida to the morgue an hour, 20 minutes after she had died, instead of 2 hours, as the rules dictate. The chief doctor of the hospital has been suspended pending an investigation. I mean, this is an incredible story. I was completely shocked when I read the story. Apparently, the relatives are planning to sue the hospital, according to some reports. I don't know if we have Rufai, if you would love to comment on this topic real quick.
I'd like to comment on it. It just shows that her time is not yet up. She still has many more years to live on Earth, and that speaks volumes, about many things. But that's a miracle, I should say. I just want to say that's a miracle, because in 1 hour, 20 minutes of being dead, there's a process in death called rigor mortis. Wouldn't have rigor mortis set in. Rigor mortis means stiffness in death. After 1 hour, 20 minutes, and she stayed 7 hours. That's a miracle.
Complete miracle.
Well, thank
really
you very
exciting.
much.
Thank you,
Oji.
Dr. Abati.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you
Rufai,
tomorrow.
thank you. Adeswa, the lady in red.